You've always tried to deny it, haven't ya? But you cannot escape reality anymore. Deep inside, we're all furries! All of us! But of course, not all furries are the same. So, you know what? Today, I'm going to categorize furries in 5 simple levels, so you can let me know how deep of a furry you are, and realize that being one is not as bad as you think it is. Unless you are one of those so-called furries in the last category of this ranking. Before we dive into this iceberg, I wanted to remind you that Fairy and Fungi, my fantasy-themed coloring book, is out on Amazon. I created 24 illustrations of whimsical fairies and enchanting mushrooms in a world full of magic, all handmade digitally, no AI. So if you love relaxing with a good coloring book or just enjoy fantasy art, I think you'll have a lot of fun with this one. Throughout the video, you will see me making the sprites of Gambito, my small fursona who's half cat, half shrimp. I hope you like him, because he will appear in most, if not all, my videos from now on. And without further ado, let's get into the video. So, furries. Most of you will associate this word with someone who pretends to be a wolf or a cat or some other animal. You might have seen those TikToks where some people dress up in fursuits and make some questionable cringe content where they pretend to run like animals or have animal-like quirks. Things that basically give you second-hand embarrassment, if you do not agree or partake in those behaviors at least. If you're old enough, you might remember some disturbing things about furries, such as people dressing up as animals and then doing the nasty, or even predators dressing up as cute animals to lure younger people in and getting them to do stuff that they shouldn't be doing. I've also seen people accusing furries of wanting to do the nasty with animals, which is, illegal. There's horrible sick people in every community, even the best ones. The only thing I'm sure about is that none of them are watching this video. Anyway, thing is that these disgusting cases of people doing things they shouldn't, plus the cringy content, has led people to at least raise an eyebrow every time they hear someone is or enjoys anything related to the furry fandom. But are all furries the same? What types of furries are there? And what type are you? Let's begin with the furry iceberg. At the very top, we will find the Omega Furry. This person can be defined as someone who just enjoys furry-related media, such as artwork, comics, animations, or stories. They might follow furry artists, read webcomics, or watch shows with anthro characters, but they don't really do anything beyond consuming media. This is the most common type of furry, and I think most people who do not actively avoid any type of furry-related media could fall into this category. Even you, my dear viewer, because, as you see, you are watching a video of someone who falls in the next category. Right at the middle of the iceberg, we have the Beta Furry. Here we will find people who represent themselves online through a fursona, just like me. A personalized anthropomorphic character that they use as their online identity. They might commission or create art of their persona, roleplay as them, or use them in social media and forums. They engage more actively with the fandom, but don't necessarily dress up as their character. A beta furry doesn't have to do all of that, of course, but having a fursona is what makes all the difference from the first category. I personally don't engage with the fandom, but that's because, well, I get overwhelmed easily when I have to keep track of everything that's going on. But I definitely 100% sure do not reach the waterline of this iceberg. Next category, the alpha furry. This is the one you see at conventions with a full-on fursuit with lights, blinking eyes, and poseable tails. Also, the ones who create content pretending to be an animal. Remember the Pinchy videos I mentioned earlier? Yeah, those. It gives me a little bit of secondhand embarrassment, but some fursuiters act out animal-like behaviors for fun. Others just enjoy the performance aspect, and honestly, that's fine. Even if people like me find it difficult to watch, those people are just having fun and they're not hurting anyone. So even if I don't consume it, I'm not against it. Let them keep doing whatever they want to keep doing. And here's where the problems begin. Up until now, it's been a stroll through the park. People enjoying things that you may or may not agree on. But now we're swimming below the waterline, where things start to get complicated. The ex-human furry. This person takes their persona beyond just a hobby or self-expression and becomes overly dependent on it as an escape from real-life responsibilities or issues. They reject their real-life identity, insist that others only refer to them as their persona, or struggle with social interactions outside of their furry persona. In extreme cases, they use their persona as a way to escape reality and develop toxic and unhealthy behaviors. I know what you might think. How is this different from the alpha furry? Intentions. In some cases, they might even feel dysphoria. And I'm sure these people have unresolved issues that make them want to become someone they're not. Could have something to do with a traumatic event, PTSD, undiagnosed illnesses, who knows. But this type is really already considered potentially dangerous to themselves. And here, my dear audience, is where we enter the last type of furry. If they can even be called that. At the very bottom of the iceberg, the ones that lurks into the darkest pit. The furront. These people who claim to be furries, but in reality, they just want to engage in inappropriate activities with animals. This group is widely condemned by the furry fandom. These individuals are not part of the community, but sometimes try to associate with it, causing misunderstandings and negative stereotypes. The vast majority of furries strongly oppose any form of real-life animal harm and do not tolerate those who attempt to normalize it. I think we've all experimented that feeling of being part of a social group and suddenly you encounter someone who either does not respect the community or they straight up pretend to be something they are not just to excuse their sick behavior. There is nothing wrong with those who are still figuring things out, but it is one thing to try different options to understand yourself, and it is another to put on a mask and use a whole community as an excuse for your acts, like, oh no, this is my community, I belong here, and you are attacking me because of this. I have rights, and you are just a hater. Nah, man, if you touch animals in a way you should never, I don't care if you're black, Latino, gay, non-binary, or the Pope itself, you are sick in the head. There's no excuse, there's no PTSD, there's no trauma, there's no nothing that justifies animal abuse. None of it. And I'm sure that, well, Maybe not the absolute majority because there's always exceptions, right? But the vast majority of the furry fandom is going to agree that whoever abuses animals should be punished according to their crimes. I think I'm more like a mix between the first and second one, since I do have a persona but don't really engage actively in the fandom. I do follow some furry artists and I swear to God, they paint fur so beautifully. I wish I could do that, but oh well, I might do a furry challenge soon, so just to improve my art skills when it comes to fur. So, what do you think? Let me know what category of furry you are in the comments. And as I said before, I will also leave you a link to buy my fantasy coloring book, Fairy and Fungi, on Amazon. I know the link looks weird and short. I had to use a URL shortener because the actual link was half a page long, and well, it looked really intimidating to say the least. You can also follow me on Instagram and TikTok, where I post about my BL webcomic, fan art, and challenges. Thank you for watching, and you will see me in the next video.